Can we start, colleagues? Okay, thanks. Morning, colleagues. Morning, members of the media who are joining us virtually. My time says it's 6 minutes past 10. Let me start by apologizing for starting a bit late, but we are here. My name is Humphrey Ramafoko. I am responsible for communications at the Public Service Commission, and thank you for taking time to join us as we release our quarterly publication titled The Pulse of the Public Service. You'll notice that this a bulletin covers the period 1 October to 31st December 2021. And I'm with Commissioner Anele Qoia. He is the one who will be releasing the Pulse of the Public Service. Over to you, Commissioner, if you can.
Thank you very much, Humphrey, and thanks to all members of the media. And let me take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this gathering, which is an activity where we release our quarterly news bulletin, The Pulse. As indicated by Humphrey, this is a report for a period from the 1st of October to 30th of December 2021. And today's briefing basically will be focusing on governance matters, and in relation to the following areas: the promotion of constitutional values and principles, and we will be making a reflection on local government. You would know that we don't necessarily have jurisdiction over local government, but in anticipation of the current debates, in line with the single public service. So we took time to make observations on the public, on local government. And we will also be looking at the issues of capacitating the youth to fight the scourge of corruption. We all know that corruption is the buzzword in the current conjuncture, and the fight of corruption is intensifying. So we also had a look on the role of the youth and also capacitating them to fight corruption. And we will, as our normal practice, make a reflection on the non-payment of the suppliers by the various government departments. As you would know that it's law by now that suppliers have to be paid at least within a period of 30 days after they have submitted their invoices. So we will be making a reflection in terms of the assessment in relation to that. And we will also be reporting on the number of complaints that we have received, as well as grievances that we have handled in that period that we're talking about. And you will see in our closing that we will be making we will be welcoming new commissioners that have arrived in that period, as well as we will be paying tribute to those who have left the commission. Now, as part of stakeholder engagement, we've been engaging ministers as well from various government departments on the constitutional values and principles in order to create a common understanding to deliberate on the state of their departments in relation to upholding such constitutional values and principles. So we must indicate that we haven't met with all ministers, but we have met with a reasonable number of ministers, such as the Minister of Employment and Labour, Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, the Minister of Higher Education and Training, as well as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. So we are continuing with those engagements. We have continued in the period from January. There are those ongoing engagements with the different ministries. And we are also in a process of repositioning the Public Service Commission with a view to meet the growing challenges in the public service. So on the area of the promotion of constitutional values and principles, the Pulse gives a reflection in terms of the work we are doing. We used the local government, as I've indicated in my introduction. So we all know that the local government elections have come and gone in 2021, and people made their choices, and the choices of the people need to be respected, both by those that have been put in positions of power and those that have a responsibility for administration. They need to respect the will of the people. So if we look in terms of our constitution, section 1D, it makes the founding provisions to ensure accountability, responsiveness, as well as openness. So those are raised as the core of the South African value system. Now, whilst the PSC does not have a direct role in the local sphere of government, as I indicated in terms of our jurisdiction, the policy reforms around the single public service and the district development model bring all spheres of government together, your national, provincial, as well as local government. And we would all remember that the president, together with the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, have crisscrossed the country, launching the district development model, where all spheres of government need to come together for a common purpose of enhancing service delivery. The Constitution is unequivocal on the basic values and principles governing the public administration. So those values include, but they are not limited to, human dignity, achievement of equality, high standard of professional ethics, efficient and effective use of resources, responding to the needs of the people, accountability, which is very important, transparency, as well as good human resource management. Now, Section 195(2) of the Constitution further emphasizes that these principles apply to administration in every sphere of government. That includes local government. The Public Service Commission's Guide to Constitutional Values and Principles governing the public administration provides further guidance on how institutions of government and organs of state ought to establish values-driven systems for a developmental state. The following highlights the importance of some of the constitutional values and principles to build strong institutions of local government. One, we speak about ethical leadership. We have gone through various reports, and we hope that everyone has gone through those reports because they are for public consumption. The Nugent Commission report, the high-level review panel report on state security agency, the reports, various reports from the Auditor General, and also the recent three-phase or three-part report of the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. All those reports then, they remind us of how the collapse of government institution has led to massive failures of integrity, resulting in the phenomena such as corruption, looting of state resources, state capture, and all that led to poor service delivery, because the resources that are directed to service delivery have been siphoned by those who have been entrusted with the responsibility to deliver services to the people. Although integrity and high ethical standards by themselves are not the panacea to the resolution of a myriad of problems that our country faces, the development of ethical leadership that is grounded on principles of integrity, competency, responsibility, accountability, and transparency is necessary to engender a culture of service and professionalism by the public servants. And on the other hand, entrust and engaged citizenry on the other hand. The PSC is of the view that councillors and senior managers must be foregrounded on the issues of poverty, unemployment, and inequality, as well as the issues of corruption and the delivery of services to the people. And so on the issue of public participation in service delivery, well, all of us, we know that local government is at the coalface of service delivery, and it's the closest sphere of government to the citizens and residents in general. And therefore, it makes sense that there should be an active partnership in terms of enhancing service delivery. Now, whilst elections are a democratic method of choosing government, it is imperative that the relationship between the state and the citizens or residents is not reduced only to the election intervals, and but it should be the one in which citizens have an opportunity to participate in between in state affairs continuously to ensure that they hold those that are elected accountable. And you would remember that after every election, there's a process of the election of ward committees that have a responsibility to hold councillors accountable. And that process is still underway, and it seeks to bring citizens and residents as well as local government into conversation about the performance and service delivery needs of the various communities. It is therefore critical that a mechanism for public participation to inform policy making is devised. The legislated ward committees are not the panacea for citizen local government interface, nor should they become gatekeepers for this relationship. It is thus important that councillors attune themselves to hearing diverse voices of their communities, So the interaction of councillors with communities should not end with committees, but it should go beyond that. So it is our considered view that ward councillors need to convene, as per the regulations, regular community meetings to account to the people who have elected them. Equally, communities must work with councillors transparently to find solutions to the development challenges that they face. In many instances, you find out that even when community meetings are convened, community members do not attend those meetings. And if you don't attend those meetings, then your voices will not be heard. Now, this type of relationship between councillors and communities will help prevent violent protests that already and always ensue in some communities. And it will create a sense of responsibility to protect and guard against the destruction of the existing infrastructure in demand of new infrastructure. It will also create more opportunities for the use of alternative dispute resolution as a mechanism for dealing with community challenges. On the political and administrative interface, as the Public Service Commission, we acknowledge that the political administrative interface is by nature inevitable. However, this should not compromise service delivery to the citizen, but it should help to stabilize leadership in municipalities, to maximize human potential, to capacitate municipalities and deliver services to the citizens. The interface of these two complementary functions, that is now political and administrative, is often the site of a huge struggle. Now, given this observation, the Public Service Commission would like to emphasize in this context that political leaders have a responsibility to set the development agenda, and the municipal managers or the administrative leadership have a responsibility to devise means to implement and ensure that the development agenda is achieved. So it is their responsibility. In effect, the role of political office bearers concerns the notion of what needs to be done, and how it is done becomes the responsibility of your administrative leadership. Now, in this context, there exists a shared project between both sets of leaders. Furthermore, the coalition arrangements in municipalities should not exacerbate the strife in the political administrative interface. Rather, political leaders, irrespective of their party affiliation, should treat bureaucrats as officials and as professionals who will use their technocratic expertise to devise policy tools to achieve broad development goals set by the former. The Public Service Commission would like to awaken those who have assumed power in the recent local government elections, in the new municipal councils, and how they deliver services to the electorate. This provides an opportunity for them to reflect on the basics articulated within the Constitution. That is now the founding values that are found on Section 1 of the Constitution as the pillars of our democracy and principles governing public administration that are found on Section 195. These values and principles should be the basis on which the coalitions are considered, with partnerships that are of high standard of professional ethics that promote and ensures the efficient, economic, and effective use of resources that facilitates equitable services, which are accountable and responsive to the needs of the citizens in a very transparent way. Now, these issues that we have raised will be found between page 2 and page 4 of the document, the PULSE. The second area that we have highlighted that we would be reporting on as contained in the bulletin is the issue of influencing the positive culture change, capacitating the youth to fight the scourge of corruption. The International Anti-Corruption Day was commemorated under the theme, Your Right, Your Role, Say No to Corruption. The theme was in line with the National Development Plan and the National Anti-Corruption Strategies Pillar 1, which is support active citizenry and promote values and reorientation initiatives to prevent and combat corruption. Preparing for the future starts today. Building a culture of integrity in society begins with education of young people, as they are the future of the country. The knowledge, skills, and behaviors they acquire will hopefully shape the country's future and will help them to uphold integrity, which is essential for preventing corruption. Engaging the youth is thus also critical to inspiring norms for integrity and ethical behavior, as well as equipping the youth with knowledge and skills to resist corruption. Because our observation is that the quest for instant wealth accumulation is the basis for corruption. The youth were also introduced to concepts such as the importance of proper processes and the need for transparency. This platform was used to capacitate youth to understand how rules and laws protect all members of society and why rules and laws must be obeyed, even when no one is watching. The engagements on the youth or with the youth during International Anti-Corruption Day also focused on the following areas. One, corruption infringes on our constitutional right. It is a fact. Now, this platform was used to sensitize the youth about the cost of corruption and encourage them to act for the greater common good. The results of the survey conducted by Corruption Watch on youth corruption perception were shared with the youth. The deliberations also featured an input from the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation Youth Club program. The other area that we raised with the young people was that they should be the change they want to see. Today's youth needs to take responsibility for their own future. In December 2021, Statistics South Africa announced that the unemployment rate increased to 34.9 within 3 months from July to September 2021 and from 34.4% in the second quarter. The youth aged 25 to 34 years recorded the highest unemployment rate at 66.5. Therefore, the youth intervention to deal with corruption is critical in order to reduce the unemployment crisis, which to some extent is caused by fraud and corruption in the public service. It is against this background that the National Anti-Corruption Strategy of South Africa, approved by the President in November 2020, calls for active citizenry in the fight against fraud and corruption. We also focused on the non-payment of suppliers to government. Government departments are required to settle all contractual obligations and pay all monies owed, including intergovernmental claims, within the prescribed 30 days from receipt of an invoice, or in the case of civil claims, the date of settlement of court judgment. Late or non-payment of invoices imposes dire consequences in the financial health of businesses, such as liquidation, especially those small businesses that still live from hand to mouth. Late and non-payment of suppliers can expose departments to costly litigation for non-payment, including being ordered to pay interest on late payments, resulting in the already scarce financial resources being diverted from priority areas. A case in point here is the revelation in a written response to questions in the Gauteng legislature by the MEC for Health that the Provincial Department of Health in 2020-21 financial year paid 5.6 million of interest on late payments, while still owing a further 91.8 million for penalty interests, which is a lot of money that could have gone towards service delivery. In discharging its constitutional responsibility, the Public Service Commission continues to monitor compliance with the 30 days payment provision of invoices to suppliers. If you look on page 6 in the Pulse, there's a table there, table 1. It reflects non-payment of suppliers by national departments as at the end of quarter 3 of 2021-22 financial year. That is now the end of December 2021. The table shows that there is an improvement in payment of suppliers by national departments during the third quarter, despite the late submission of information to National Treasury. The Department of Water and Sanitation, excluding its trading entities, still owes a significant number of invoices, which shows 199 invoices at a cost of 266 million, compared to 169 invoices at a cost of 351 million at the end of September 2021. That is indeed a cause for concern. For the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy, the number of invoices seem relatively low, but of concern is the related cost at the end of December 2021, which was at 1,221,000 for 6 outstanding invoices. Noteworthy is the significant increase in the number of invoices at the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure trading entity, which recorded 365 invoices, despite the lower cost as at the end of December 2021, compared to 23 at the end of September 2021. As reiterated in numerous times, the Public Service Commission remains concerned regarding the persistent late or non-payment or non-submission of exception reports to the National Treasury, such as the Civilian Secretariat for the Police Service, Government Communications and Information Systems, International Relations and Cooperation, Basic Education, Higher Education and Training, Health, Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development, Employment and Labor, as well as Transport for the quarter under review. You go to page 8, you will see table 2 there, which reflects on the non-payment of suppliers by provincial governments. At the end of December 2021, the Eastern Cape had 24,887 outstanding invoices at the cost of 2,585 million, which as compared to the 4,648 invoices at the cost of 2.2 billion at the end of September 2021. Gauteng recorded 5,550 invoices at a cost of 1 billion plus at the end of December 2021, compared to the 4,855 invoices at a cost of more or less the same amount at the end of September 2021. In the case of Northwest, a total of 5,296 outstanding invoices were recorded at a cost of 418 million. At the end of December 2021, compared to the 4,340 invoices at a cost of 266 million at the end of September 2021. Similar to the national departments, certain provinces submitted the exception reports late to the National Treasury for the quarter under review. And these are Mpumalanga for the end of October and Northwest for the end of December 2021. The Public Service Commission has made several recommendations taking into consideration the reasons provided by national and provincial departments, such as mystified or misfiled, misplaced or unrecorded invoices that are rooted in the lack of internal control measures, which refer to not only systematic issues but also human resource shortcomings. But as the Public Service Commission, we are of the view that consequence management should be the order of the day in instances such as this, so that such unfortunate incidents do not recur in departments. The Public Service Commission therefore supports the decision taken by the President as stated in the 2022 State of the Nation Address. The appointment of the current chairperson of the Small Business Institute to head a unit in the presidency to identify priority reforms for the year ahead, including mechanisms to ensure government departments pay suppliers within the required 30 days as a response to the plight of small businesses in South Africa. Then we make a reflection on the overall number of grievances and complaints handled by the Public Service Commission. Up to the end of December 2021, the Public Service Commission had 444 registered grievances, including 158 carried over from the previous financial year as reflected in Table 3, which would be found on page 9 of the bulletin. Of the 444 grievances, 109 grievances, which amounts to 25.4%, were not properly referred, and 335, which amounts to 75.5, were properly referred. Grievances which were not properly referred are those that were either being dealt with elsewhere, such as bargaining councils, and those that were still not finalized in the departments, where employees, whilst they have submitted grievances and lodged them in the department, whilst the department is still in the process of resolving those grievances, then they decide to refer at the same time to the commission. So those are not properly referred. So we are concerned about the continued referral of grievances outside the provisions of the Grievance Rules 2003. As a result, it calls upon the labor relations officers within the departments to ensure that on an annual basis, employees are workshopped on these rules so that they understand the rules and they are able to lodge their grievances properly. Unions are also called upon to play an active role in assisting their members in lodging grievances. And where time frame for lodging grievances has lapsed, to advise them accordingly. Now, of the 335 grievances that we have indicated that were properly referred, approximately 95% are referred by employees and 5% by executive authorities. Referral of grievances by employees is an indication that departments have failed to resolve these grievances internally within the prescribed time frames. Then we look at the overall number of complaints handled in the same period. The PSC has a mandate to investigate either of its own accord or on receipt of any complaint, personnel and public administration practices, to report to the relevant executive authorities and legislature. Personnel practices relate to, for example, irregular appointments, transfers, qualifications, and compensation related to allegations, and public administration practices relate to, for example, procurement irregularities and poor service delivery. If we look at the cases of alleged corruption received by the PSC through the National Anti-Corruption Hotline in the 2020-2021 financial year, a cumulative number of 24,650 cases of alleged corruption were reported by callers and whistleblowers as at December 2021. Since the inception of the NAG in September 2004, during the third quarter of 2021-22 financial year, the Public Service Commission recorded a total of 347 cases, as shown in Table 4 on page 12 of the bulletin. These cases are slightly higher than the 337 cases received in the second quarter and the 282 received in the first quarter of the same financial year. During the first, second and third quarter of the 2021-22 financial year, 32 feedback of alleged corruption relating to national departments were submitted to Complaints and Grievances Panel for determination of the closure, and 65 feedback of the alleged corruption relating to provincial departments were presented to provincial panels and closed through early resolution. All the 65 cases relating to provincial departments were unsubstantiated. Go to page 12 and page 13 of the bulletin, you will see that, and also there is an explanation in terms of what happens. The Public Service Commission noted from the feedback provided by departments on concluded investigations that a number of complaints investigated by departments were unsubstantiated. To this end, the Public Service Commission encourages members of the public and whistleblowers to provide detailed information to enable investigators to make informed conclusions. All complaints are investigated regardless of the nature of allegations in order to determine the extent of the allegations. At the end of the bulletin, between page 18 and 19, the Public Service Commission welcomed 2 commissioners in its employ during the 2021-22 financial year, namely Commissioner Mukhalure Sikonya from Limpopo and Commissioner Yasmin Bakas from KwaZulu-Natal province. The 2 commissioners come with a wealth of experience, and they will contribute immensely towards the execution of the constitutional mandate of the Public Service Commission. And you will find that at the end in page 18 and 19 as indicated. And finally, let me also welcome in anticipation the 3 national commissioners that have been appointed by Parliament, and we will in due course announce their names and when they would then resume duty. But we welcome them, and we are quite confident that they are also bringing a wealth of experience, and they will strengthen the team of the Public Service Commission in executing our mandate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We really appreciate the detailed presentation of the pulse. I think at this point we'll take some questions. I don't know, I'll check with Taki whether we've got some questions on our WhatsApp group. We don't have any questions from the WhatsApp group. Okay. Commissioner, I don't think we've got any questions from the WhatsApp group. Let me take this opportunity to thank you again once more for releasing the pulse. And I want to thank the colleagues who are here for attending the briefing. We came to the end of the briefing. Thank you very much. Thanks, Commissioner.